It's Hearthstone Grandmasters for the European region, and we are over the halfway point for our last day of Grandmasters before we head to the Masters Tour. So Grandmasters picks back up right after that Masters Tour is done. Kolento versus Bozzzton is what's coming up, and Matt's Admirable. I'm joined by Gallon. And Gallon, I feel like today has been pretty close to the heart. I'm liking some of the thoughts and the messages that were happening today.
I'm just liking how fast it is, man. People are dying left and right.
Gallon has expressed to me multiple times after the cast, he goes, "Oh, casting is exhausting. I don't think I could do this for more than a week straight." And I'm like, yeah, you could. It just takes practice, like everything else.
If it's like this every single day, I could do it for a while.
Well, it's not. Week one, it was a Warrior Fest. We got a Warrior coming up in this one. Kolento taking on Bozzzton. Kolento is on Warrior for this one, Bomb Warrior. And I've been playing a little bit more Bomb Warrior lately, and I saw some pretty cool decks yesterday. As you can take a look at his deck list, pretty straightforward and standard. I ran into Fibonacci, who is very much known for his Warrior-exclusive style of play. Like, actually almost always only plays Warrior. I actually think I've only queued into him when he is counter-queued me playing another class. Other than that, I've never queued him against him with anything other than Warrior. He had a copy of Bronze Gatekeeper and War Gear in his Bomb Warrior deck, and he beat me up because of it.
Fibonacci is just a warrior. I mean, he's just the best in North America at Warrior, right? Who even competes with him? Purple, maybe? Purple's a Grandmaster in the Americas region.
I think there's a
Kolento. Kolento can probably compete with Fibonacci.
I think there's a number of people who could. If I'd have known he had War Gear and Bronze Gatekeeper, I would have killed all those mechs instead of leaving them alive. Kolento 2-0 Bozzzton into the first match that they faced off against each other. All of the matches today are rematches and will be for the rest of this Grandmasters season that we're on. And Bozzzton bringing the Shark Rogue here. Single copy of Waggle's pick in the Water Rogue deck. And honestly, Waggle pick has not looked super strong in this deck for me seeing it.
You know, I think it's actually a stellar choice in this specific matchup. We have been seeing Waggle pick not be that great, but remember that we're also seeing it against double weapon or triple weapon destruction decks, right? That is a choice that is designed specifically to beat Waggle pick. So I think that the removal of one should help Bozzzton in this matchup. If you look at his tertiary, he also has Geppetto Joybuzz, which I've been talking about a little bit. I think that card's pretty funny. I'm glad to see that it is now finding a place in the tertiary deck against Warrior.
Harrison Jones and a Togwaggle scheme there as well for some pretty massive endgame stuff that you can pull off if you manage to go toe-to-toe with Warrior. And so we're getting into game number one, and I am loving Kolento's opening hand here.
Is that just a 4-keep?
That's a good question. Shield Slam against Rogue for me has been a card that I have not been a super big fan of. Mm-hmm. And I think it doesn't necessarily work in tandem with Wrench Caliber, albeit at times it can preserve resources and timing so that you can get stronger turns later on. For me, Wrench Caliber is really the bread and butter of Kolento's deck versus Bozzzton early on. I think that card is paramount. I think it's one of the best cards in your deck against them. Just kills 2 things for 4 mana.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, the 1-drops in this game are just so good versus Rogue, I would say. Especially against Water Rogue, which is not trying to fight on the board turn 1 specifically. All their stuff kind of lets Eternium Rover farm it for armor. I think in addition to the Eternium Rover, I think Shield Slam is quite a good choice.
I think the 2 of those in tandem is the combination that you're looking for.
Makes a lot of sense.
Togwaggle kept in the opening hand for Bozzzton as well. You can see where his game plan is. It's seated in colossal turns later on.
Well, he's on the play, right? One of the easiest ways to win this matchup is to have coin and make a huge Edwin early on in the game. Bomb Warrior does not have a good answer to an 8/8 Edwin on turn 3.
You usually got to fight with minions.
When you're on the play, however, that changes a lot. Your Edwin comes down a lot later, if at all, if you draw it. So a lot of times your game plan has to shift to a Togwaggle scenario. So just keeping in your opener makes sense, especially when you're on the play.
And Bozzzton here faced with a choice. Kept the Blink Fox in the opening hand. Pretty easy to go ahead and play it down. Obviously, went the Novice Engineer. Doesn't want to just give armor over to Kolento and just sacrifice minions.
I wonder.
But this is what Kolento kept his opening hand for. It's to get minions that chip away are not easily answered. Follow it with Wrench Caliber and really leverage that board position afterwards.
One thing I can say about going coin Wrench Caliber this turn, however, is that it denies him the ability to play Harrison Jones against Bozzzton's Waggle pick. Coin has been very important as a lot of breakpoints in a lot of different matchups, especially Rogue versus Warrior. I feel like Warrior using its coin early can often spell disaster.
Which would you consider a bigger breakpoint? Is it Wrench Caliber a 3-3, or is it Harrison and Wagglepick?
It often depends. I think that Harrison and Wagglepick is very good, and that is something that your deck is designed to do. However, Kolento is probably saying, oh, there's only one Wagglepick in his deck, so Coin Wrench Caliber makes a lot of sense. That's where you get him with the one-of copy of Wagglepick.
I think even if I knew my opponent was going to go for Wagglepicks, I probably am going to Wrench Caliber.
That's fair.
3-3.
That's fair.
My thought on it would be twofold. Number one, if my opponent has 2 Wagglepick, I have the Harrison Jones for later. Number 2 is that I get to Wrench Caliber a 3-3, which is exactly what I want to do every single game with Bomb Warrior. This is just so good. He gets to kill a minion, and then later on he deals 5 damage. That is so unfair.
It's a 4-mana, 16 damage weapon.
That's not fair.
That is not fair at all.
Gallon, I would do a lot to deal 16 damage.
Would you spend 4 mana for a Wrench Caliber?
I would do a lot for a 50% chance to deal 16 damage.
Is that just 2 Ragnaroses?
Yes.
Is Wrench Caliber just 2 Ragnaroses
Yes.
for 4 mana?
Yes, that's exactly why I love the card. At some point, it's just a big Ragnaros shot.
They are just the same. There's no difference.
That is such an insight into me as a weird human being. I was wondering why I like Bomb Warrior so much. It's just because it's just Ragnaros shots to face.
That's also just the excitement. I'd say that as a spectator, it's really interesting to see how the end game scenarios play out, because there's always these moments where you have to just hold your breath in anticipation.
I'm telling you, this was a heartfelt week.
When both players just lean back, you know, put their hands together and just saying, "Oh,
that's
please
Hearthstone.
Don't be there." Yep.
Bozzzton having a tough turn. Do you sacrifice the Life Drinker? Do you poke this and set the Wagglepick? So Harrison Jones is now guaranteed to hit on a Wagglepick if Kolento wants to do that. It will take 2 turns for Bozzzton to override this.
Remember that Bozzzton can always just dagger to override, but if he's doing that, then Harrison Jones draws 2 cards anyways.
Ah, yeah, because you can just use it for value at that point. It's the lone copy of Wagglepick. I always hate playing minions into weapons, where I'm like, this is just going to die. All right.
You can't avoid it sometimes.
Godspeed, buddy.
I like it when you have other minions in play so that they don't die.
I mean, it's a robot. Does it even feel anything?
It's a little bit hurtful.
It's a robot.
It's Wall-E, man. Look at it. He's got like a little piece of trash he's looking at.
Well, that one's staying alive right now. I'm talking about the 3-3.
I don't like him as much.
Literally nobody says anything, and he just pops up and asks if somebody ordered a bomb.
It's kind of unwelcome.
That is...
He kind of deserves to die. Would you kill Wall-E?
Is it dying if it's not
or
alive?
A pizza delivery driver that instead of giving you a pizza, just hit you in the face with 5 damage? I'd kill that guy.
My question is just,
I wouldn't feel bad about it.
How do you kill that which has no life?
That's a good
It's a 3-3 robot.
You hit it with a candle.
Bozzzton thinking about the Mortal Strike this turn as well. Interesting.
This is, I gotta say, this is actually a weirdly hard turn, I would say. There's a lot of things going on right now. Any minion that you play is going to die to the Wrench Caliber. He even decides to...
I think that's wise to do it that way. You don't want your Novice Engineer to get bumped for value. If your opponent's going to play Harrison Jones, you get one of these 2 minions back. I think this is the cleanest way that Bozzzton could have done this turn, which just happens to spend the most mana.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Spend your mana. Especially in spots where they're just awkward things to do. And none of them are really clean.
And you're the one who's behind.
Yep, spending all your mana in these kinds of spots is good. You know, Kolento actually even has the option to just play Ziliax on this one. I wonder if he was thinking about that. I doubt it, right? I feel like Harrison Jones is just so good versus a Wagglepick. That
Yeah, I think the issue here is Kolento's debating which one of these minions would he rather return, if at all.
I don't think he wants to return either. I think he's just going to kill both and then play Harrison Jones. 0 mana draw a card for Bozzzton is much more powerful than a 1/1 in play for you.
Indeed. It's a very unimpressive museum. And here's a Wagglepick.
Oh, here's another one.
I'm like, wait, there's 2?
Harrison Jones just has a collection of pickaxes.
I made it for 400 dust. Like, that's
Just
not
stole
impressive.
He just stole it from other people, man.
Yeah, he didn't even craft it.
He's a thief, man.
I wonder.
But like a Robin Hood kind of thief, where he's robbing from the rogues and giving it to the museum.
Wasn't there a card called Museum Curator?
There was.
It was a 2-mana 1/2 priest card that discovered a Death Rattle minion.
I wonder.
I have no idea what that does with Harrison Jones.
He's just a museum dude. Like old, like fossils and stuff, like dinosaurs and things.
Yeah, but he's kind of shady because these weapons keep coming in. He's like, yes, an excellent acquisition. Doesn't question where it's coming from.
Yeah, pretty straightforward turn for Bozzzton. Kill the thing. Not really much to do else. He's behind, so he has to clean up board. And for Kolento, pretty similar story. He wants to combine Augmented Relic with bomb cards. Want to get to the point in this game where Omega Devastator's main effect takes place, which is dealing 10 damage once you're on 10 mana.
Chillwind Yetis are good, but in this spot you can just sit back and relax, right?
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Oh, that is big. We
That's a
have
major
lackeys.
draw.
Yes, we have lackeys now.
Actually, that is the best draw in the deck. So now Bozzzton combos this, and he can make one of 2 choices. Number 1, give an objective to Kolento by having to kill a lackey. Or number 2, save lackey, use first lackey with High Spear and Togwaggle, and have the option to Shadow Step the High Spear in.
I like the secondary option. Saving the Shadow Step here makes a lot of sense to me. Last time we saw this play pan out, they ended up playing the Shadow Step, but that was because there was an Edwin in play. I believe this was day 1 of this week. And in this spot, we don't have an Edwin, so saving the Shadow Step for a High Spear and Togwaggle game plan makes a lot of sense.
Honestly, Edwin's not even super effective right now because Kolento just has a ton of armor built up.
Yeah.
I mean, they take a turn like this from Boston's perspective. You're thinking Brawl, you're thinking Warpath, you are thinking Ziliax, Omega Devastator, you're thinking Shield Slam.
Yeah, Shield Slam especially, right?
Yeah, and then obviously the 2 big 7s come to mind. Dr. Boom, Mad Genius.
I think in those
Blastmaster
cases, you would want an Edwin in play right now. Specifically against the 7 drops, Edwin sounds about as good as you can get.
Yeah, just going to get Shield Slam though. You kind of know that.
Yep. Well, here's the thing, is that if they did have a 7 drop, they would be able to Shield Slam as well.
Disruption.
Yep. It's knowing when your opponent wants to do their key turns, and that's when you overload them. You make them have to choose between doing their key turn and taking a lot of damage or losing the game in some way versus not playing their key card, removing your board, but then, they're delayed a turn.
And so in this spot, this is not enough pressure ever to keep Bozzzton off. I'm sorry, to keep Kolento off one of those 2 plays I imagine.
Yes, yes. If he had it, he would be playing it almost immediately.
Defend the gates.
If he was thinking this long, it's between those 2. It would be between Blastmaster Boom and Dr. Boom, or he just doesn't have one.
Bozzzton can just not stick a threat to board. Oh my. So now, this is actually an important turn for Spirit of the Shark in my opinion, because the only way Kolento can guaranteed kill it is Warpath. In this spot, Dinomatic is not guaranteed to kill Spirit of the Shark. Are you free to take that risk, or do you use the first High Spear and Togwaggle and then wait till turn 9 to combo it with the Spirit of the Shark?
I like using the Togwaggle now because exactly for that reason. When we make the Togwaggle cost 4 mana, we can end up playing it alongside the Shark later. So we're guaranteed 3 treasures at this point. If we play the Shark right now, we could be seeing a Warpath come out, and then that game plan is ruined.
So 3 treasures now, better than 4 treasures possibly.
1 treasure now and then 2 treasures later is better than, I guess you would say 2 treasures in total, but that's very unlikely. I think this way you guarantee 3 treasures, and the other way it's quite likely you get 2, and then sometimes 3 or 4.
Any merit to the other treasures in this spot, or is it always Wondrous Wand?
I think it's always Wondrous Wand in this kind of spot.
I think it's just about against Bomb Warrior specifically. Like at a certain point, you don't want to draw cards anymore.
I think, so another thing to consider is that legendaries in particular get a lot better when your opponent hasn't played Dr. Boom. Kolento hasn't played Dr. Boom yet.
And now, I mean, this is exactly what I always feel like when I take Wondrous Wand in the matchup, is that this happens. I was watching the Americas matchups yesterday, and I saw Nagridon win a game where he just, I think it was not, I'm almost positive it was Nagridon. Now I'm questioning myself. He just kept taking the crown. He's like, make 2 legendaries, make 2 legendaries, make 2 legendaries. And at a certain point I looked up and I was like, Race just doesn't have anything left. He doesn't have any removal left. Like, he just literally beat him down with random legendaries.
If you put enough big stuff in play, you're going to get there. The problem is you need a lot of waves. The I would say, first 2 waves of Xerox Crown does not get there.
Ooh. And the bombs disrupt the Wonder Swan as well. You draw the bomb, and then you draw a card off the bomb card draw. So it does not get discounted to 0 if the bomb replaces it. That's a major difference.
7 manas Sea Giant versus 0 mana, yes. 0 mana 8/8s are quite good.
They're a lot better than 7 mana 8/8s.
I wonder.
Now the problem with the Spirit of the Shark, Heist Baron Togwaggle is Bozzzton is under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, taking that bomb puts him at a life total where he starts to have to consider, am I just dead if I go for a value play here?
Yeah, he's going to have to take care of board position some way or another.
This guy's toast.
This didn't look very clean to me.
This looked about as awkward as you could use your resources as possible.
Time was burning down.
Yep.
Had to do something.
He had a bunch of deal 2 damage to three health minions.
Kolento is putting heaps of bombs in the deck right now.
Do you think he just starts going face with this kind of stuff?
So I believe there's currently 4 bombs in the deck. He's shuffled in.
What now?
Wait, is there 4? I knew I should have been tally marking this ahead of time.
He drew at least 1.
Okay, so there was 2 from the Wrench Caliber.
I believe there are 3 because there's 2 from the Wrench Caliber.
Yeah, there we go.
Actually, was it
4? Because he drew 1 bomb.
No, there might be 4 in because he played a Clockwork Goblin this game, and then later on went Augmented Valor
You're right.
Clockwork Goblin.
So that's the 5th bomb in the deck right now then.
That's a lot of bombs. Bozzzton does not have weapon removal in his rogue deck, which makes sense, but it's going to not be good for him here.
Lone copy of Ziliax in the deck. So I'm thinking it's heisty time. And honestly, I look at that first draw, thinking legendaries now. There are 5 bombs in your deck of your 18 cards. Are you really going to risk the disruption plus the damage at that point?
The Wondrous Wand gets a lot worse. That's honestly a big factor of it too, is like when you play Wondrous Wand, the odds of you getting bombs increases by quite a bit.
Yeah, Crown.
Do you think he goes for another one?
King me.
Last time we saw that, we got a queen off Xerox Crown. Maybe it's Queen Me. Countess Ashmore.
Yeah,
no, she's not a queen, right? Countess is not a queen.
Well, I mean, you put a crown on her. She becomes a queen, I think.
She just got promoted.
Maybe she doesn't want to be a queen. She can be whatever she wants. She wants to be a countess. Countess Queen it is. Countess Queen. Countess Ashmore.
That's a lot of
Oh!
Nope. Excellent.
Oh, it's so cool. Oh!
Can we shadow step that?
Do you want to?
I mean,
Oh, I saw 412. I thought it was Nosdormu.
Oh.
I thought it was Malagos. I just saw 412,
yes.
and I was like, ah!
There's a lot of 412s. That's like the dragon stat line.
Oh, Zari!
Do you think they all have like the same workout pattern? they're all buddies, gym buddies. Maybe that's why they hate Deathwing. He's been like on the bodybuilding.
He was also just 12 on the front end.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's just like been bodybuilding and kind of cocky about it.
We are here for Kolento with the Omega Devastator.
That's what he's been saving it for. This is sweet. We have a Blastmaster Boom as well.
He's just taking so much damage, Bozzzton is.
Blastmaster Boom is incredible in this
6
spot.
bombs in the deck.
I want to point out that Bozzzton has 1 turn to develop on a board with these Xerox Crown. I think it's something that he has to go for here. If there's a Brawl in Kolento's hand, I do not think he's winning this game.
There's not a brawl in Kolento's hand yet.
Bozzzton doesn't know that. He also doesn't know about this Blastmaster Boom.
Tess and Chef, both big things.
I think the text doesn't really matter, so as long as you do not take a 2/2 here.
Thinking specifically Shadow Step. I'm thinking evolves on the Tess. Would you rather evolve into 8s or 9s?
Evolves on the test. Oh, you're
So, like,
saying
a Witchy
yes,
Lackey
sure,
or something?
Sure.
So many options.
Yeah, but that's going to be a very minor thing to think about. I think we're spending too much time deciding on this at this point. I want to go to the next decision point.
That is kind of interesting, actually. Bozzzton has been taking minor decisions into account quite a bit.
Yep. I feel like if you take your time too long on the decision points that don't matter, you're gonna, you're putting yourself at the rope at a really inopportune spot. Is he just taking?
Oh,
wow. This does put him above the break point again. He's at 11 now instead of 10.
that doesn't clear.
Yeah, but he's got a Blastmaster Boom. Blastmaster Boom, Hero Power, Shield Slam is 6/6.
Yeah, that's good.
You wonder if he even just goes for
What now?
Warpath here.
You're leaving up 12 damage.
You could Shield Slam a 3/3, Blastmaster Boom Warpath as one potential outcome.
Oh, you just want the boom bots to generate
there's just
tempo.
like a lot of ways to sequence this turn.
Also, you got to think about when damage missing just hits face. Like, how does that add up?
I wonder.
I feel like the most obvious play this turn, like the level 1 play, would be Blastmaster Boom, Hero Power, Shield Slam. I don't think I'm smart enough to calculate everything for the Warpath play, so I probably would just go Blastmaster Boom, Hero Power, Shield Slam here.
And the Warpath play is to pre-calculate that and know it.
That would take much longer than the 75 seconds allotted to you.
Or one of those people that just really is quick with those formulas.
Yep.
Oh. Ooh. That's the verb, just extra tempo. He's like, you know what, I'll start chipping away at this armor, and if I need to, I can smack a minion with it.
That's fair. You just develop it so it's in play. Next turn, you might want to go Warpath, for example.
Yes. And so if you're going to Warpath, chip the minion. Go from there.
Hence Glen Burglar being picked up. That is one of the few ways Bozzzton could just get Kolento in this game.
You know what else Kolento actually played around here, too? Crown into Leroy.
So
That's really smart.
many options.
Crown and Leroy is 12. There's 12 in play. That's 24. And with the weapon dagger, that would be 25. You got 6 extra armor. So I'm thinking there's probably one other thing that needs to be in there, like a Shadow Step. But he actually played around like a weird crown out of Discovery. Like that was the Rapids
many
Project
options.
purpose.
No, this actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like it.
Whoa. That's a cringe.
Oh, no. That's not what you want to see.
Choose soon.
Was this out of order, too? I mean, she did cast the crown first.
Ziliax is big. Malygos is bigger, apparently.
Just big back end. He's cleaning up board. And he wants these to absorb as much damage as he can. I'm sapping a Boombot here. No! He's so dead! He's just gonna die!
Did he just see?
This was... Doomsayer's way worse than Spirit of the Dragonhawk! No! Not like that!
I didn't even know it. I was looking at you. You yelled. And it took me like 10 seconds to look back at the screen. I turned back and don't even notice the Doomsayer.
Why? The game reached such a cool point. All right, so two things I want to talk about here. Number one, you know what? I'm going to start on the negative point first because bad news first. Bozzzton, I think, has been playing pretty sloppy. I think a lot of his plays could be a lot cleaner and he could sequence them better and figure it out. But number two, to compound the issue, part of the good news here, I think Bozzzton would be losing a lot of these games anyway because he's just been getting pretty unlucky in a lot of his spots.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the sloppiness is just being accounted for by also disastrously bad luck. But even in the games that you would still lose, it's important to play as cleanly as possible. I think that, this goes back to my point about the Zerug's Crown, right? You know, he had the choice between a 7-mana 6/6 and an 8-mana 6/6, and he spent 50 seconds of a 75-second turn thinking about it. The decision point there, it's like it comes up 1 in 1,000 games, if not less. You know, why are you spending 50 seconds on your turn of just this kind of irrelevant thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that you need to move on from that decision point, get the other info that's happening this turn, because there's still cards that you're playing where you don't have the info from, such as things like lackeys. You know?
Yeah. I think Crown should be taken on the first one. I think you have 3 High Spirit and Togwaggles coming up. Kolento pressured you, and then he stopped pressuring you. I think it's time to pressure him back.
That sounds like a lot of sense.
When I have 3 treasures coming up, I want to take crowns, and I want to smash a bunch of stats into play. What am I going to do with extra cards? I'm going to smash stats into play.
I mean,
so why not just take the card that doesn't draw me bombs and smash a bunch of stats into play? That's what I want to know.
I want to interrupt you. I agree with you. And one other thing that makes me agree with you is that Kolento is running 1 Brawl in his main deck. He did not play Dr. Boom on turn 7. That means Xerx's Crown gets a lot better because your minions cannot die to the rushing mechs.
And so Bozzzton's moving on to the tertiary deck. We're removing a copy of Sap. We're removing a Waggle Pick. We're removing a Sea Giant. In its place, Togwaggle Scheme, Harrison Jones, and Geppetto Joybuzz. And that looks a lot better versus Warrior.
That looks quite good.
Spotlight card's Novice Engineer. Did we pick that? I also want to mention that Burgle Rogue is not the correct name. TJ had gone in and changed some function to make that up. Yeah, I'm calling you out on this one, TJ. He changed it.
This is clearly Water Rogue.
Water Rogue. It's got a
Yes.
Sea Giant. It's got sharks. It's oceanic themed. Okay, if you want to say that Water Rogue was Finja and that this is misclassified, so be it. Ocean Rogue.
That's fair. That's fair. You know,
Like
honestly,
that Ocean Man song.
and I know the other thing about Boston's tertiary is removing the Waggle Pick and the Sap. I think are both cards that just do nothing.
They just pour in the matchup.
They just do nothing.
They get blown up. I mean, Waggle Pick's sapping your own minion at this point. I don't want to sap theirs or mine in this matchup. Kolento's sticking on the primary deck list. He says that is the best one suited for this case. We're in specialist format, which means you bring a primary deck, which you must play in game number 1. And in games 2 and 3, you can have 2 decks of the same class that are up to 5 cards different. And you can queue up any of the 3 decks, and you don't have to tell your opponent which one you're queued up. They have to figure it out as they see the cards.
I want to do a quick shout out for Kolento. He has 5 cards different in his secondary and his tertiary. I like that.
I love that you're hammering that point home.
I think it's important, man. Ooh.
I liked your spiel about it. In Conquest, if you took a risk, you could get punished very easily. You have a risky deck, it's a weak point, that's going to get targeted.
Yep.
Here in Specialist, you don't have to play one of your other 2 decks. If you have a pinpoint focus, why not find more that's good against it? You don't have to play it when you don't have to.
And that's what Kolento did. You know what I like? I like Coin and Edwin against a Bomb Warrior. I brought this up a lot.
Indeed.
I'm going to keep bringing it up a lot. Edwin is a good card.
So best draws for Bozzzton with Edwin, Shadow Step, and Coin. Go.
Evil Miscreant.
What else?
The second Evil Miscreant.
What else?
Good Lackeys off the Evil Miscreant. That gives you more Shadow Steps,
Cards
more
that he
Evil
can draw,
Miscreants.
not cards that he can create.
Well, that's not fair, because Evil Miscreant is like all about the
That was the
creative
first
stuff.
parameter I set. Cards he can draw.
I think that you want another Shadow Step. I think that you maybe want a Spirit of the Shark. Honestly, this is going to sound kind of weird. I think you want the Geppetto Joybuzz.
So when is Edwin coming down then?
Well, hopefully soon.
Well, right now it's not looking like it's coming down soon.
Well, hopefully soon.
If the Blink Box lives, maybe, but it's not going to live.
You could play it right now, right? You could go 3 mana Edwin, Shadow Step it, Coin, another an 8/8.
Okay, so Backstab.
10/10.
So Backstab, Edwin, Shadow Step it, Coin, Edwin. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 cards played prior. You get a 10/10 Edwin versus 2 armor. Your opponent has 3/4 damage on board. They can attack, arm up, shield slam.
Yep. Well, what you can do is you could backstab the 3/4 and then just not kill the 1/3. You could dagger face, backstab the 3/4.
Right. So then on Kolento's side, you could dagger face to put him at 1 armor. So then it would be 3 damage, 4 damage, 5 damage, 6 damage.
But then you get 2 from the Turning Rover.
Yeah, so it's 9 damage. So if he attacks face
Yeah,
with the
but
dagger
then
and
he
goes
deals
in,
9. He deals 1 with the Turning Rover.
yeah, I counted that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I'll go through the process
How
slower.
about we do the math on our own, and then we come to a conclusion?
All right, I'm
a
writing it down.
consensus. All right, I am not ready.
Okay. All right. So he's backstabbing the 1/1. So Kolento's going to get the armor because he's going to dagger the 1/1 in this spot.
Choose soon.
You're just calling him out on shield slam. So here's the thought on this. If you backstab the Elec and you punch face with the dagger, Kolento's going to go to 1 armor.
Yep.
He has 3 damage from the Elec and 1 damage from the Eternium Rover, which the attack from the Eternium Rover would move him up to 3 armor.
Okay.
So we put 4 damage on Edwin, and we have 3 armor. You could armor up to 5 armor with a 5-point shield slam.
Yes.
So the break point is 1 damage off of killing a 10/10 Edwin in that spot. But in this situation, Bozzzton goes, I'm calling you out. You got to have shield slam. Kolento doesn't have shield slam.
You're saying that if he had done what you're just saying, which is, backstab 3/4, go face with the weapon, that shield slam alone did not do it.
Could not kill it.
That's interesting.
It would have been an impossibility.
It would have been
without
1
second
damage
shield
off.
slam. Yep, 1 damage off.
That's really cool. You know what's also really cool? Pyroblasting your opponent on turn 4 and still having a 10-10 in play that they have to deal with, that they just couldn't deal with.
And you get to compound the issue as well by adding to board so that you can cut into Dinomatic, that you could keep the pressure going if Edwin dies.
You know what's really cool about this? Is that Dinomatic is still 1 off from clearing the Edwin unless he gets very lucky.
So right now, 7 damage on board for Kolento. And there's going to be 6 non-mech health in play.
The best he can do is go for a 50-50, hope it clears the Edwin. If he trades his 3-4 into the 4-3, 4-5 into the 10-10, we're missing that 1 crucial damage to kill the Edwin Van Cleef.
So Bozzzton found a different way to approach it too. He said, well, Shield Slam's just going to be kind of efficient no matter what. Maybe he was looking down the road at Dinomatic and seeing how it pans out. What's the biggest thing Kolento could play on turn 4? It's a 5-5 and run it in, or it's a 4-5 and say go.
Very true. I also think that backstabbing a 3-4 and then going face with your dagger is just a weird use of your resources.
It doesn't feel good.
It's playing around something specific, but if they don't have it, it's just, where does the board state go from there?
That leads me to think that Bozzzton perhaps really was thinking about Dinomatic specifically then, because if you look at that turn, that 1-3 being up would have made Dinomatic clear here.
Yeah, I think like looking at that turn as it was happening, I agreed with it, and even moving forward, I still agree with it. I think that playing around Shield Slam was not as good as just taking the tempo play.
Okay, so what happens if you just keep making the Edwin bigger?
Mark of the Loa. Well, now you have to hit the breakpoint for Dynamatic again. So we are giving it +2/+4, I believe.
Yep.
So it's 14.
Gets taunt as well,
Yep,
so you
we're good.
could you protect Edwin by just suiting up the smaller thing?
I'm sure you could, but you want to put your health buffs on your Edwin, I believe.
Now, mind you, Kolento has moved over to his secondary deck, so there's a single copy of Big Game Hunter that can still get this done. But that needs to show up.
Kolento has moved to his secondary deck. Didn't he have 2 Eternium Rovers, and he's played an Eternium Rover this game?
Oh, I checkmarked the wrong
I believe
thing.
Bozzzton has moved to his
That is
tertiary.
a major blunder. Forgive me. He did not move to the secondary deck. He's on primary. I am a big dum-dum. I checkmarked the wrong list.
Slam, Big Game Hunter, Brawl, and Super Collider.
Yeah, those are not there. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, my goodness. Straight up.
Now, if it was, that would be...
See, here, you're free to tell me I'm wrong.
That would actually be insane, though, right? You just top decks the Big Game Hunter off the top. That's what top decking means, in case you didn't know. Just kills a 12-14.
All right, so we can kill the Edwin.
Well, first of all, he'd be cheating because he played an Eternium.
Okay.
Secondly, Bozzzton would not see it coming.
I'm done with your semantics.
I'm sorry, I'm just giving you a little bit of a hard time.
We can kill the Edwin. It only costs every minion.
What now?
That seems like a fair trade. Just take 5 on the backswing and go down to 7.
That tells me that's why Kolento kept Shield Slam in game 1.
Edwin big. Big equals good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what does he do from now till the end of the game? Because Blastmaster Boom is no longer a play. Next turn, he's going to die. For all intents and purposes, he is going to die at 7 life. There are no hands from Bozzzton, really, that will not threaten another 3 damage.
You're looking at Warpath and to recover.
But does that get there?
You hope. I mean, what else is it going to do? Bozzzton doesn't exactly have a ton of pressure to add to board here.
You wonder if he can set up a 2-turn lethal where Kolento is forced off of Blastmaster Boom.
Blink Fox, Cable Rat, Minion.
Maybe it's just Spirit of the Sharks they go? You have a second Spirit of the Shark, so Warpath becomes less of a concern, I would say. They play their first Warpath, and then you have the second one for reload, and you have...
So what are you playing with the Spirit? Are you wanting to dig into the deck, or do you want lackeys?
I think I like lackeys, just because I know that they're battle cries, and we're getting them doubled by the second Spirit of the Shark. Kobold lackeys sound great here.
Thinking of cards in the deck I'd want to draw. I'm thinking Leroy. Thinking High Spear and Togwaggle. Thinking Evil Miscreant. I have a second Shark. I don't know.
One thing
both
about
both good options.
Yep. I mean, one of the things about High Spear and Togwaggle is that if we want to play it next turn, we have to play lackeys now, or get lackeys now, and then just draw it off the top. He's going for Novice.
Nope.
No, he's not.
So Kolento's got to think about what he dies to.
Well, I mean, he's probably going triple Warpath here. That's his only answer to the board. Do you play your Omega Assembly? Do you have 3 more turns?
So I'm thinking the difference between 2-cost mechs and 3-cost mechs to add to your Dynomatic. Spring Rocket, 2-1.
Bronze Gatekeeper.
Yeah, Bronze Gatekeeper, Spring Rocket, 2-1, deal 2 damage. Yeah, I'm kind of lost after that one, but I definitely think that you're Warpathing, and I think that the Omega Assembly actually has a lot of merit.
You still have to consider that you don't know what your opponent's play is going to be next turn. Maybe you want to save the Omega Assembly until you know exactly what mechs are required.
You're also just running out of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, like, you need to be able to get extra
Yeah.
stuff somehow. You got a shield block so you have extra life. It's just tough. I mean, Kolento's been a tough spot this game because Edwin.
If you're losing both the tempo game and the value game, you're losing. You're just straight up.
Yeah,
losing.
that's usually how that works.
If you're losing in all
So
aspects,
many options.
might have lost the game. Kolento is saying that he just has to take a risk here, right?
I hope you
Now he
like
goes
my
in for
invention.
Novice.
Yeah, keep drawing. Yep. I want to find High Spearin. Togwaggle scheme in hand.
What is the number on that? It's been in hand for
Big.
7 turns, so I believe it is 8 at this moment. It'll go to 9. Was it in the opener? I believe it was.
I'm almost certain it was. Bozzzton?
It's the far left card in his hand. It has to be.
Ooh, Academic Espionage, I actually don't think is that bad against Bomb Warrior.
It activates your Vendettas, which is something to consider.
It also...
Stolen Steel is damage. Also activates your Vendettas.
the thing about Academic Espionage is it actually pushes you further away from bombs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So in very, close calls and fringe situations.
It changes the math quite a bit.
This is a great Dynomatic turn for Kolento. This was the dream.
This is about as good as it can possibly get. He's still in a very rough spot.
Uh-oh.
Bomb drawn.
There's one more left in the deck right now. Ice Baron.
We have a lackey, but we cannot cast.
You could cast the Togwaggle scheme on the Togwaggle, though.
Do you think we could go Goblin Lackey, Heist Baron Togwaggle, Togwaggle Scheme Togwaggle, get a wand, set up that board state? Maybe Bozzzton is at a low enough life total that...
Lucrative contract adds 2 coins.
Yes, but I don't think that changes the...
Well, I'm thinking about the breakpoint for that. So if you could get 2 coins in your hand and then later on use it so that you could play Lackey, Heist Baron Togwaggle, and use the Wondrous One that same turn. I mean, that's probably 2 turns away because he just needs hand space. Darius Crowley found!
That's not overkill. If that just kills a minion, you get the +2/+2. If he plays it, he does not have Vendettas anymore. All things to consider. However, he has a Stolen Steel. So maybe you just play the Darius Crowley now.
Oh, this game has been tough for Bozzzton. Even despite the early start, it's still been tough.
I think it's been tough, but it's given him the chance to show off his prowess at Rogue. I like this Darius play. Yes, you make your Vendettas cost more, but you already have a card in hand that could reduce their cost again.
Just worried about spending all this mana. Like, there's just so much to spend.
Is Dynomatic good here? We're 1 mana off from it being great. Do we have to take a 50-50? I think Kolento has been trying to save this Omega Assembly. That's how his game plan has been going for the past couple of turns. I don't see him changing from that now. I think that going for a 50-50 here is better than using your Omega Assembly for a slightly higher chance.
We need Yarlo on call right now. Yarlo would definitely know the answer. He's one of the Grandmasters here in Europe. He is just so good at understanding what best stays alive and why. So there's 2 things I'm thinking at. Number 1, Kolento has clearly been trying to get a power play with this Ziliax. He doesn't want to use it for a nominal response, which I think is exactly what it is here. Number 2, he really does not want to risk it and just take heaps of damage. That is a disaster in that spot. However, if you expend the Ziliax now, is it big enough to get it done?
He's going for the Dynomatic.
Kolento says no. He's got a little bit more time. Oh, I don't know. He's
Going for the Ziliax.
taking the immediate payoff.
All right.
Mara was pounding there. I was like, I think you need a Dinomatic. He's going to go with Ziliax. And you know, honestly, it's, oh, look at his expression, too. He's like, that's one of the toughest decisions
So
he's
tough.
faced in a long time.
It's so tough. I imagine that this is getting vendetted almost immediately from Bozzzton. We can go Stolen Steel, Goblin Lackey, Heist Baron Togwaggle, get a treasure, vendetta this 3-2. I don't know. I guess he wants to save the... He wants to save that for the Togwaggle scheme for next turn, because he wouldn't be able to defend the Togwaggle scheme otherwise. Kill command, that is just 5 damage.
The Fox is a beast.
It actually comes up so often. If you play against Hunter, there's so many beast-related cards like Beast Within, Kill Command, Bestial Wrath.
Ziliax for tempo plays.
Dynamatic still doesn't clear. Do we just start with a Mega Assembly?
One bomb left in the deck? Yeah, Blastmaster's not even that good.
Blastmaster is just a Dr. Boom.
That
From
sounds like it should be
BBG.
good.
Trump said that that's a bad card.
Oh, come on. That's like a 4-year... Golly. Some people never forget.
Trogzor.
Gallon holds grudges, never forget.
I didn't actually play when that was I came on after that.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in this terrible spot, it's still a good card.
Kolento's on the back foot in a major way, though, and it's not about to get better. 0 bombs left in the deck now.
Does Stolen Steel ever find lethal here? Is Life Drinker lethal? We have 6 in play, 11, 12 with the Kill Command and the Goblin Lackey.
He's got to find 7 more then.
1 from the dagger.
6 more. So if you get True Silver Champion, would that be enough? No, you don't have the mana.
You don't have the mana.
You have to worry about the bombs as well. If Kolento, you know, perhaps shuffles in more, that's usually an out that people don't think about because it's so unlikely. But
I think with the Ziliax in play, if you Goblin Lackey it, let's say,
I wonder.
you should be good. Yep.
This makes me turn my head towards the lucrative contract then.
I think since we're playing the Goblin Lackey now is the turn that we also play Heist Baron Togwaggle.
With no bombs left in the deck, Wonder Swan certainly looks a lot better. Definitely using that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play the Heist Baron Togwaggle, this is why I was talking about the contract.
Well, do you think we should have started with Stolen Steel then? Because we had the mana left over.
To me, he clearly wants to dagger up again.
I think it becomes a question of whether the dagger is more damage than playing the Stolen Steel now, because it opens you up to playing a 2 mana more expensive weapon next turn. It's a hard call.
I don't think he's thinking about that. I think he's just thinking about how can I make this as clean as possible and close the game with an overwhelmingly crushing victory.
Sure.
Kolento has shown that he's having trouble clearing off minions. You don't really have much evidence to believe that this 1-1 isn't going to stick around.
We cannot clear the Ziliax with this hand. We can't really do much of anything at all. Well, we could go double Clockwork Goblin with Augmented Relic. Yeah, I think that's what he's going to come down to.
Kolento is just going in. 4 bombs in the deck.
You wonder if...
Oh, that's the...
All right.
That is paramountly the most likely draw.
That is nice to see. But you wonder if Bozzzton was supposed to not dagger a 1-1 to keep his life total at 11.
Whoa.
It leaves a boom in play, or a bomb in play.
It's such a small thing.
But it could matter. In this situation, it could have mattered.
It could have, but I'm thinking about a million other things this game. Like, this is...
Yeah, it's just so small.
The game has been super complicated from Bozzzton's position.
He could die here. That
Not
is
anymore.
Not 3 bombs in the row.
He is not dying. In fact, he is quite alive.
he have a lethal here? He has a Life Drinker and a Blink Box. Both of those are beasts.
6 plus 5, 11 plus
Isn't this
the
just
4
lethal?
in play. Oh my gosh, he's tunneled.
Yeah. I don't think he's losing this game, but that was a mislethal.
What if he draws a bunch of bombs in a row?
Did he have it before the Wonder Swan? No,
Yes.
he didn't. Are you sure?
Well, he had it
needed
after the Wonder Swan.
He had it after.
He had 0 mana Life Drinker,
Yes,
plus
he-
a 4 mana Life Drinker,
Yes,
and he had
yes.
7 mana left,
Yes.
plus the kill command.
Yeah, so he
that's
wasn't-
11 damage, plus the 4 he had sitting in
Yeah,
play.
He definitely missed lethal after the Wonder Swan was played. Did he have a setup that was guaranteed beforehand? I don't think so.
Beforehand, I don't think he had a guaranteed one, no.
Well, with
because
Kolento drawing a Town Crier, this game is over. There's
no, there's there's 4 bombs left in Boston's deck.
That's fair.
Look, the odds that happens are extremely unlikely, but if it's going to happen, this is the game.
Yes. This is where you get punished for just missing this one spot. The odds on that are so low. He drew a minion.
That activated, so.
Yeah.
Master Dorian says when you draw a minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. Tied score. Boston, man, he just had so much stuff in hand. I feel like this could have been spent more efficiently. It's just not that I'm going to break it down because there's a billion different things going on. But my gosh, he had like 40 mana in hand at the end of the game. That's so much stuff. Like, I feel like he just could be spending more cards. Like, you're going to get so much value when you have Heistbear and Togwaggle's scheme. I want to see him spend with like reckless abandon, throw minions into play.
Yeah, I got to say, like, you kind of want to see the bombs happen where he just draws 4 in a row, but at the same time, you really just don't want to, you know? I mean, Boston was so far in that game, like so far ahead that, you know, I would say it's a minor error, right? Missing lethal there is usually something where it just doesn't matter. The fact that there was even a chance for that to come back and bite him, and if that had happened, I think it would have been very upsetting.
Yeah, in my opinion, missing lethal is not even close to the biggest mistake you can make. Because usually when you have lethal, what that means is you're beating your opponent so badly that it probably doesn't really matter what you do. You've done all the hard work that gets to that point. You know, I'm kind of hammering it home right there in the 1 in a million shot that he draws 4 bombs in a row. I'm going to pop off, casting 101. But in that situation, he absolutely could have been playing these end turns cleaner. Like, if you go back and break it down, there's a lot of things that can be done so much better in that situation, and it would take so long to explain it because there's just so many things going on. I mean, long story short, if he's spending his mana in a reasonably efficient way in that one, he's going to win the game.
I mean, you wonder if he's just not thinking about those turns in the correct way, because there is a lot of things that are going on. You know, if you look at it just from without an understanding of how the matchup has been playing overall, you can get tunnel vision on the unimportant stuff. You know, when you're presented with 10 different options and only 3 of them matter, you gotta focus. You know, you just gotta break it down to the simple stuff. Like, do I have lethal, or if I don't have lethal, what is the best play here? That can be very hard when there's 10 different options presented to you and you do not know what to single out.
I mean, how long did Boston have 10 cards in hand?
Quite a while.
It's like almost the whole game
Yeah.
at the end stage.
Rogue is hard.
I don't blame anybody for not being able to sequence that as perfectly as possible and come up with the maximization of their outs there. But it did genuinely feel to me like he's playing it a bit slow. And again, he's going to win that game as long as he's spending his mana. But I think that that's a game to look at where he started out with a 10-10 Edwin. It got buffed to a 12-14 taunt. It took all 4 of Kolento's minions to clear that and left him with nothing on board. And at the end of the game, he's still struggling to find the way to most efficiently close it. Like, start beating him up.
Yeah.
Attack him. Play the biggest things and hit him.
Well, in this situation, 99.999% of the time it didn't matter. But there are going to be situations where it does, where you have to look at a 10-card hand that is very complicated. You're going to have to break it down. You only have 75 seconds. There are multiple options that give you more options, like a Wonder Swan that you're going to have to cast. The best player is just going to have to nail that.
That's why I'm preaching it so much. It's not because in that game it mattered. It's because when it does, it's going to hurt.
Yeah. And people will tell you.
I'm telling you right now, and it didn't matter that game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just kind of fun to think about.
Yeah.
I sound a lot more hypey than I actually am about it. It's a very entertaining game.
Boston was in a clear lead after a certain point.
You know, Dan was talking about this on cast the other day, where it's like I just sound kind of brash and really intense all the time. I don't know why that is. I pretty much always do.
I feel like it's a little bit like your shtick. I think you do it pretty well.
I don't think I do it intentionally.
You don't think you do it intentionally?
I don't, because I don't even realize I'm doing it most of the time.
Sometimes you do realize and then you lean into it.
That's usually when I mess up.
Yeah.
Pro
Honestly,
tip, when I make an error, I really lean into it because I don't know how else to recover from it.
one thing I want to say is that, really quickly, is that I've been in Bozzzton spot before a lot of the times in my Hearthstone career, and a lot of those times I did not make the optimal play.
Yeah, I don't expect anyone to be able to.
So it does happen a lot. You just have to pick yourself back up, and you have to learn from those mistakes.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
Tough one. Oh.
Oh.
So in this spot, I imagine Bozzzton's quite interested in taking care of the Eternium Rover, specifically as a nod to future Dynomatic.
Well, what you got to think about is, if you backstab a 1-2, you can dagger the other 1-2, and then if Kolento goes coin Militia Commander, which he's often doing, you can clear the other 1-2 over 2 turns with your dagger.
Ah.
So it's just it's a little thing, and it's a tough position to be in, because when your opponent draws 2 Town Criers and an Eternium Rover in the early turns of the game, you are upset. Those are like the 3 best cards. So it's really hard spot. I think I like clearing both of the 1-2s though.
So your perspective is kill a 1-2, poke a 1-2.
Next
Militia
turn.
Commander hits, you take 2, poke a 1-2.
Yeah.
Interesting. It didn't occur to me.
Well, now there's going to be 2 1-2s in play that we do not want to hit with our dagger, because that means we're redaggering.
Does it leave you open for kobolds to clear them?
Yep.
Where they would not be necessarily clearing the 1-3 off?
Yeah, but you could just dagger and kobold a 1-3, right? Hard to say. Tough spot from Bozzzton.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not one that he wants to be in. I'm looking at Evil Cable Rat, Double Witchy Lackey, trying to get a good 4-drop as a way to win here.
I mean, they have another. They either have Ziliax or they have Militia Commander already in hand.
Yes.
It has to be one of those two.
Yes.
I'm thinking Ford does not live through that Militia Commander.
You don't want it to live. You want it to trade evenly with the Militia Commander.
I wonder.
What 4s trade evenly?
Hecklebot sounds pretty nice.
let me pick the biggest stat one with taunt.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're in a bad spot.
My mark.
Blood Scalp Strategist
Too soon.
doesn't do anything right now. I think it says
It's a battle
if you
cry effect.
have a weapon, discover a spell.
Yes.
We could Shadow Step it if we had a Shadow Step.
Oh, that's funny. You always have a weapon with Rogue.
Hecklebot. That is the opposite of Hecklebot.
Totem Cruncher, 2-3 taunt. Pretty close to 3-8 taunt.
2 of the numbers are the same, and they both have taunt. I mean, it's the same card. Kolento is running away with this.
Yeah. He's got a lot of tempo. Sea Giant considerations here. Indeed.
He's even killing off his extra 1/1 to make the Sea Giant unplayable.
That to me is Kolento 101 right there. These did a good job. Let's make him do another good job.
And you know what he's thinking about? Faceless Lackey activates Sea Giant. Because you have 4 minions in play.
Yeah.
You go to 6. Sea Giant costs 4.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
wonder.
That's Kolento 101 right there.
Smart.
Mike Things did a good thing. Let's make him do a better thing.
Yep.
Chip damage. I'll get more of that.
You don't need more.
Oh, that is not fun.
Oh, Wrench Caliber 2. Kolento is just firmly in the lead. He even has Dr. Boom Mad Genius. Bozzzton does not have Ice Baron Togwaggle. He does not have any cards that are really playable in this spot besides a Life Drinker, which doesn't do anything because Kolento has the Wrench Caliber to answer it. Bozzzton is looking at 4-mana Vendetta to answer this 3-4. Well, now it's slightly different.
I'm thinking Vendetta Dagger.
You like that over Kobold Lackey SI7 agent?
Not really. None of them look good. He just got beat. Man, it is tough to beat Warrior when you get beat in the early game by them. This is the deck that's not necessarily supposed to win the early game. It's supposed to fight through the early game.
I think that Bomb Warrior, when it gets the good start... Okay, so this is quite outside the range of normal. Getting 3 of your 4 1-drops, I believe... Yes, he's running 4 total 1s. Getting 3 out of the 4 is very unlikely, right? But even still, it's a deck that can go aggressive very early on if it gets stuff like Augmented Elec, Clockwork Goblin, Wrench Caliber. This is a little bit better than normal, but I don't think it's like outside of the range where I'd call it uncommon. It's something that this deck can do fairly consistently, I would say. Another 1-drop.
Ah, perfect timing.
It kind of is, though.
Pretty good.
Yeah, no, I actually think this is one of the better draws in his deck, besides Blastmaster Boom, obviously.
Besides just the big payoffs.
Oh, yeah. He already has one of the big payoffs.
Well, you draw when you need them.
You don't really even want to play Dr. Boom at Genius in this spot. You just want like another thing to play. Chillwind Yeti sounds better than a Dr. Boom.
Ooh, and I thought I sounded crazy when I started preaching against Dr. Boom plays.
I mean, Purple was talking about this. Purple is a Grandmaster from the North American region I'm very good friends with. He says that sometimes he just doesn't keep Dr. Boom in his opener. Because it's an aggressive deck, and he wants to kill his opponents so they're dead.
I agree.
This guy's toast.
Killing
Now-
your opponents so they're dead is a good strategy.
I will often keep the Dr. Boom in my hand.
Well, yeah. I'm not crazy. Purple's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he...
That's why I was using his words and not mine.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be the crazy one here.
I don't want to get flamed later for saying this, so I'll throw Purple under the bus.
Exactly. But there are some hands where you just don't keep Dr. Boom. I think there are some hands versus Rogue where, you know, you just don't want it. Maybe a Wrench Caliber or Blastmaster Boom or an Augmented Elec would just be better.
I'm so glad.
I am quite surprised that Dynomatic didn't hit the board this turn, though. This was a trade and a Dynomatic, and it blew everything up.
Maybe he's thinking that he just wants to push the 2 extra damage here. I don't know why.
Bread point on Lelth.
Yeah.
And right now we got
And you don't use your weapon?
3 bombs in the deck.
That is
Or we got 2 bombs in the deck right now from the first Swinger Wrench Caliber. Is that right now? The Alec died. It just died by itself, right? Because it got Vendetta. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the second bomb in the deck now.
Yep. Interesting game.
I think some of the things that Kolento's also thinking about is the follow-up Dynomatic. He gets the chip of 2 right now. He gets the
Yep.
Dr. Boom Hero Power online. And it's because the mechs have Rush, he's very unlikely to take damage in that spot. And so what that means is the armor payoff for the Shield Slam is still present there. It's a spot where the face-up play actually is, of the Dynomatic, I think is just strictly worse than the Dr. Boom because
Sure.
you get all the same follow-ups no matter what.
Sure.
Difference is you just get Dr. Boom online. That's actually kind of rare that happens.
I mean, Koleno's probably thinking about all this stuff quite a bit. I mean, even here, he's been saving the Shield Slam the entire game. This is kind of weird, though. He was the aggressor for most of this match, and suddenly his hand is now just entirely defensive.
That's a lot of how Bomb Warrior, I think, ends up going, is you get off to aggression, you get bombs to your opponent's deck, you chip their life total down to a dangerous spot, and then suddenly you shift gears and you go into a control deck. You neutralize their attack, and what ends up happening is slowly over time, those bombs get drawn.
Do you think this is part of why he played Blastmaster Boom there? Because he realized his hand was just slowing down quite quickly?
Absolutely.
He didn't have his Blastmaster Boom? Spirit of the Shark is one of the few good draws in Boston's deck right now, at least with his hand. Kolento cannot answer it currently. Ethereal Lackey.
That's a good one.
That's the good one. If there's any card that Boston can get with this hand, it is Ethereal Lackey to win the game.
I just got to get back into it first. I feel like he's losing
That's fair.
really bad.
Nothing.
Myra seems like a terrible choice. What if you take Unidentified Contract?
Well, you have a scheme for 9 copies of a card right now.
Yeah, but there's 2 bombs in your deck.
Ah.
Maybe you just take it, and what you do is you make your hand really full. Shadow Step.
2 more cards.
But this is what I'm talking about. It feels like we're hitting these important breakpoints, like on decision making, and it's happening at the very end of the turn. We had 2 seconds to think about that Shadow Step. Was Novice Engineer better than Evil Cable Rat, or was it better than Ethereal Lackey? I don't know. I didn't have enough time to think about it. How did Bozzzton have enough time?
Gallon, you're making too much sense.
Kolento looking for a Dynamatic here.
Thinking about Clockwork Automaton for when you get a laser.
Because you can just make it so one bomb kills your opponent outright. That's fair. Well, doesn't the 3-4 already do that? Like, if we get a zap, if the 3-4 is still around.
Well, I mean, to the same effect, I'm thinking about your opponent's at 7 now.
Oh.
So one more hit, and now the laser definitely kills them.
Here's your argument. Clockwork Automaton with Kaboom puts him at 5. There you go.
There's
just a breakpoint.
I'm just thinking damage. Damage
Sure.
equals damage.
Sure.
Plus damage, and that sometimes equals lethal.
Math checks out.
So
Lead with
many
raiding party. The
options.
Pinch Clan Burglar's the only pirate in the deck.
Aren't we just... I guess he's killing the 3-4 with his Kobold Lackey. He also can rush his Hench Clan Burglar in as well. No, this seemed okay. Healing Touch.
That's major.
Cloning Device got bucked with the most recent update. It's kind of funny to think about.
He got mind games and cloning device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny to me because when I first started playing with Hench Clan Burglar, I thought that it was a card that would give you one card from each class. So like it would give you 3 options and they would always be from different classes. But it's just any spell that isn't rogue.
There's only one bomb in the deck.
That's the good one.
There's only one bomb in the deck. But Bozzzton's at 7.
This is sometimes just lethal.
It requires a perfect outcome, but yeah, it's sometimes lethal. Oh my gosh.
These are insane. Did we even Blast Master Boom this turn?
No. Blow up
right?
their stuff and hit them.
Yeah. Hero Power, Dynamatic.
There is some appeal to attempting to end the game this turn, though. I mean, if you close it, that's it. Like, how much worse is Blastmaster Boom than a Dynamatic clear here is? Honestly, I don't think it's that much worse.
That's
Why
what
not
was
take a
saying.
chance to close the game?
Was there ever a consideration to going Blastmaster Boom, Hero Power, Shield Slam the 0-3? And then just...
There's a lot of considerations. All of his options are just good.
If he got magnetized, it was...
He's just
lethal
straight up
one.
killing the Spirit of the Shark. He says,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Put him in at 5. Not a bomb off the top.
I mean, Boston's got to kill a 7/7 now as well. This isn't working. He's just been on the back foot the entire game because of 1-drops.
Does Kolento have a Zilliax in his deck?
Somewhere in there, yes.
He played 2 Militia Commanders
I
off of his 2 Town
Yep.
Criers. Cloning Device could discover a Zilliax. He also has a Healing Touch in his hand.
Killing the 7/7 and gaining health are about the same thing right now.
You could also go for an Omega Devastator off of Cloning Device.
So many.
Cloning device
options.
discovers a minion, so yes, it could be a Mega Devastator as well.
That's pretty much an Omega Assembly on 9 mana. You're only discovering mechs from your opponent's deck. There's a Zilliax.
Zilliax plus Hench Clan can clear off the Blastmaster
Too
Boom.
soon.
Well, you wonder now if he even needs a Healing Touch. Oh, this turn is so hard. He's not making it easy on himself.
Unity, precision, perfection.
Oh my gosh.
How much damage?
But he just has everything.
Okay, so hear me out. If we go Dynamatic the 4-3, Omega Devastator,
Well, I want to hit the mech button.
that's fair. No, I was thinking if we had lethal in any potential out here. We have lethal with
That's Rush.
Goblin Bomb lethal.
I don't know where you're getting this extra damage from. I'm seeing 3 on board.
You can kill your own Goblin Bomb with something like an Omega Devastator.
He's just got 3.
Yeah.
If you're going to use the boom bots to
If
do
he
that.
had infinite mana, I think this was lethal.
I could build a lot of decks with lethal with infinite mana.
Yep. I just need 25 more mana.
Yeah, just play the 2 big things, blow up their things, and hit them.
Chillwind Yeti, kill your guy.
This is insane.
Chillwind Yeti, kill your guy. Solid play. He even took the Goblin Bomb. That's pretty funny.
That and Shield Slam, that's 2 damage. Who says you can't Shield
You
Slam
just
face?
have lethal now. Because Goblin Bomb, Shield Slam your Goblin Bomb, zap. Even if Bozzzton full clears the board.
If he full cleared the board, took no damage, and didn't heal,
Yes. He's dead. Now, he has a healing touch.
he's not full clearing the board. Let's get that straight away.
Yes.
I wonder.
I don't see a way for him to... Can he get to the next turn of the game?
How?
I think it involves playing Healing Touch this turn.
You're still dead to what's on board. You have to take care of more stuff. So Healing Touch,
many
SI7 agent. You are technically alive at 1. Are you? No, you're not even alive at 1 at that point. So you have
Healing...
to kill a boom bot and have it not hit you.
Healing Touch, Holy Nova, and you only take 1 from both things still kills you. Because it's exactly lethal. Like, if you kill the...
He's got to
blue
get a
buff,
lackey here that impacts the board.
that impacts the board.
This guy's toast.
I think he's technically alive by 1. If everything goes face... That's
Not
lethal.
anymore.
Yep, there we go. Kolento takes it. 2-1. Bozzzton falls down to 2-6 record
Well
in
played.
Grandmasters this season.
This game was one of the toughest that I have seen a player be put in a position of this entire season. On the back foot, turn after turn after turn after turn after turn. I don't think Bozzzton gets in that game. I really don't. I don't see how a single way he could have ever fought back and rustled this board away from Kolento. He was in firm control the entire time.
I mean, if you just look at that game, he had Vendetta for 4 mana, twice.
That's bad luck.
His opponent went Eternium Rover, Town Crier, Town Crier.
Bad luck.
Kolento, good at the game. That's bad luck.
That's my opponent this week?
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, Bozzzton, that game, I don't think he's making an impact because he just got a clunky hand. He couldn't find a way to put a different class card in his hand to get tempo from Vendettas. Instead, he's just using Vendettas to just answer something.
He needed one of his burgle cards.
Yeah.
He needed Blink Fox or Henchland Burglar. I think if he found one of those, it wouldn't have been so hopelessly lost.
I think we got a game if he finds one of those.
Yep.
Would have been cool after that. Kolento is here for an interview. Kolento, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello, guys.
Hello. Congratulations on your win here this week. This was a pretty tough set for you to play through, except for in game number 3. Game number 3 looked like kind of a blowout here. Talk to me about what's going through your head in some of the spots that you faced in games number 1 and 2. What points did you find to be exceptionally critical for you in those games?
Were there any? It's like one-sided for second game, and first one, I mean, Doomsayer was pretty useful, yeah, but I think it was pretty likely for me to win anyway.
I had a quick question about the game where you decided between Dynamatic and Zilliax. You were on a turn where Dynamatic was a 50-50 to clear, I believe, and you decided to play Zilliax instead. Did you have any considerations for the Dynamatic that turn?
Yes, as you see, this matchup, like if it goes until late, you kind of lose unless they have Scheme in the very bottom with the deck the way Bozzzton had. So I think maybe I should go for the Dynamatic and have like a better board or have a probability of having a better board. But then again, he had just a Vendetta for it, so it wouldn't matter. It's just like I would have gotten more heal as well. Again, heal wouldn't matter there as well because he didn't have burst. He just had a bunch of King's Tugwaggle. What's more, interesting is Dynamatic for 50-50 in first game, where I could try to kill the Van Cleef. Again, I think it's just wasting too many resources. It was actually second game. And in the game like this, if you are not ahead, you are likely to be losing in late game anyway. So I felt like I just had to go face and maybe trade off some life total of mine for life total of his, and then deal with Van Cleef later.
I want to talk about...
Also,
oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
yeah, Dynamatic against the size 7 agent when there was a 3-1 on board in game 3. That might have been a mistake, actually, because I had no way to deal with Berry Shark afterwards.
I want to talk about the balance patch and how that tied into Grandmasters for you here, as well as the upcoming Masters Tour event. Was there anything that interested you in the buff patch that took place that you just couldn't quite bring this week? You weren't quite satisfied with how the deck was working?
I just checked out all the new cards, and I didn't find anything particularly useful, so... I mean, it's cool to have those cards buffed. It will make for some tier 3 decks, but it's not good enough to bring for Grandmasters still.
Can I ask you specifically
Fog
about...
Hopper is interesting. Like the deck I lost to my previous match. It might be decent in this environment of Grandmasters because people tend to bring more control decks, and it's hard to tech. Like you can't basically attack against Fog Hopper Rogue, but when Fog Hopper can tech against aggro. Yeah.
Can I ask you specifically about Stim Snap? It's notably absent in your Bomb Warrior, and we've seen a lot of other Grandmasters that brought Bomb Warrior to this week bringing Stim Snap.
It might be good. The problem with Sea Giants when you play Snip Snap, normally you're not vulnerable to it at all, and if you play Snip Snap, you are. But again, it's a very great card. It's like a Harvest Golem, but with Echo, even slightly better.
All right, well, Kolento...
Yeah, Magnetic too.
I apologize. I apologize for the way the interaction's going. It's the Skype delay that's causing this. So, it kind of sucks. Just happens sometimes. Kolento, congratulations on your win. You move up to a 5-3 record, and you just look impressive as always, man. Keep it up, and look forward to seeing you play again next week.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
On top of the meta, playing around what we call Water Rogue, aka Burgle Rogue.
It's kind of an interesting point, actually. With the Death Rattle and Snip Snap, it does actually add additional minions to board, which is kind of rare for that style of effect. And so playing around Sea Giant specifically so that you don't have to worry about getting blown out by that card, it's a pretty interesting thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like it yet. I think Snip Snap is still very good, but it is something to consider when you're playing around Water Rogue specifically.
A little too situational for Gallon's taste.
Yeah.
Gallon just likes playing the big stuff and getting in there. But take a look at the standings and see how things are shaping up and sitting after that one. Finos, he's going to be on top for a while now. Kolento moves it to 5-3, though, in his second place in division. He's on his heels, but still got some distance to make up in that one. But in true Kolento fashion, showing why he is one of the most decorated players of all time.
We'll still see Viper later today, who is trying to also reach that 5-3 record as well. If he falls down to 4-4, then I would say that Finomino is pretty much locked in for playoffs.
I haven't done the math on it specifically, but it's looking pretty darn close to that. Buddy Hopper, fell to 4-4 earlier today. We'll see if Viper, who is a close practice partner of his, will follow in suit. But for now, we got to battle out on our fifth match that's coming up after this one. Silvername is taking on board control, which was the hot takes that we had in this one. Gallon said Silvername wasn't going to win. I said Silvername was going to win in this one. I'm inspired by Frozen's performance with Token Druid yesterday. So stay tuned. We got 2 more matches here on Hearthstone Grandmasters for the European region.